Whether you're a trauma survivor or a human just walking around in the world dealing with the human things that happen, being a powerful leader or a powerful person in the groups you're in, organizations, can sometimes be a challenge. And I'm here with Jimanekia from sojim.com to talk a little bit more about that. I'm Cathy from the intimacydojo.com. And thanks for being here, Jimanekia.
Of course.
I've been struggling with this a lot. I think when I have permission, when I'm at work, I'm a manager at a semiconductor company that I love, and I feel like I've been authorized to have power there most of the time, and that's fine. And if I've been authorized, like I speak at different events sometimes, I feel like I've been given authority. Someone else has given me permission to be strong and powerful and hold space. But I also noticed that I don't always feel safe doing that with my friends or outside of someone of authority giving me that permission. And it's really frustrating for me because I think when we're all powerful, we give each other permission to come up higher and be more effective in the world. Have you ever run into this with any of your clients or with yourself?
Oh, it's constantly. I think that's a real struggle that a lot of us have.
Yeah.
And that we don't really have the verbiage to figure out.
Mm-hmm. I love normalizing, just talking like me. I have this thing. Does anyone else have this thing?
Yeah, and I think it kind of also falls in line with imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Which is me and imposter syndrome are like this. Yeah. We're like BFFs. I'd love to break up that relationship, but it's going so strong right now. And working with clientele, it's hard sometimes feeling like why do I deserve to support you? There's someone else that could do this better than me, and meeting people where they are. And we were talking about when I work with clientele, if I teach my Survive and Thrive, I like to not stand. I like to meet them where they are or sit lower. It's kind of giving them that power to be oh, this is about me.
Right. Well, I think with trauma survivors it's very effective because trauma is really induced by someone having more power than you and taking away your choice. So having someone who's not looming over you or on the throne, so to speak, I think that's a good way for them to help them reclaim their power.
Yeah.
And I do get the imposter syndrome it's who am I to do this? I think with my clients, I've been doing it a long time now, and I can usually just step into, this is about them, not me. I'm here to serve, and kind of let the universe help me with them. But, and I totally get it. I used to shake before sessions when I first started. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And I've been doing some more research too. There's most people have heard of fight or flight for around trauma, and some people have heard about freeze, which I talk a lot about, and you do too. And Pete Walker from Berkeley has been talking about a fourth kind called fawn, where it's not just you can't run away, you can't fight, you're frozen, but that's not working really. That's not effective. So you try to make yourself smaller and please other people. And that's, I notice that I do that when I get nervous. People will meet me and we're meeting as equals, and I'm like, yeah, I have a PhD, 19 patents. I have a good life.
Legit.
Yeah, I feel, some days I actually feel semi-legit. But I'll notice I'll act towards them like I have to earn the right to be in their company. And I don't think that's authentic. I think it's an old coping mechanism because I'm shy. When I meet new people, I'm that some of that old stuff comes up, but it undermines my ability to be effective in the world because I'm meeting someone who I might want to do some joint work with or give a talk with or something. And instead of just meeting them as an equal and just letting each of us have our things, pluses and minuses, I'm no, I'm smaller than you. I'm not a threat. Don't hurt me. And it's very frustrating.
I think it's also because, for me, I think it can also be gender-wise.
Yeah.
When I deal with specific people, I'm or time in time and a space, and I'm well, I don't really. Let me just be a little quiet. Yeah, I do these things. They're nothing, but I've heard about you. but it doesn't get us anywhere, right? Like
it's not,
the font is like, you're like, oh, look at you, you're shrinking. Look, you're just going so small, and who are you?
Yeah, I didn't even hear you when you said your name or your website or something. Like, you do real things. Share it.
Yeah. We do start to become like a disservice to ourselves. And again, it is like you said, it's like a safety thing sometimes, like, or you're just like, I don't know what else to do. Like, what if you don't like what I'm giving you? So then I just give you like a little bit. Yeah. I don't want you to feel like I'm too much for you.
And the problem is when we're meeting people for short term, like either business or social interaction, if we don't show who we are, then they walk away and they don't. I've been to a lot of events with Reed Mahalko, and he's big and he's willing to just, here I am. And we'll walk back in the room like a year later and they're like, hi, Reed. Oh, did I meet you? To me, I'm like, I was right here. I talked to you just as long as he did. And I didn't show my whole self. And it's frustrating when we're holding ourselves back and not letting people see who we are.
Yeah. Well, we know he's a very loud, amazing human.
Yes.
And it's important. And I think that also goes along with like the authentic self and self-care. Like when you feel comfortable enough, and again, this is something you continuously can work on, that when you show up, you're like, I'm good enough to be here. And I think that's like working on like comfortability and knowing who you are, you're able to show up a little bit better. Like, this is who I am. If you don't like it, you can suck it. But this is who I am, and it's amazing. So go ahead and sit down and have a conversation with me. And it's scary because also you don't want people to be like, oh, they're better than me. And you're like, not my point.
Yeah.
But but like belittling is terrible.
Oh, it is. And I think I'm always, because I'm so aware of how much it hurts when I feel belittled or ignored or someone's like looming over me, I try not to do that. But we don't always know how other people are receiving it. Maybe we can be big and give other people permission to be big, powerful, wonderful human beings too. Because there certainly needs more volume on some of the positive things out there.
It does. And I feel like there's a way for everyone to do it. Like there are some people that are loud and golden retrievers, like Mr. Reed Mahalko. Yes. And then there's little kittens and cats like myself that are like, hey, that's enough of you. So
I couldn't find
you have to find out. You got to figure out who your animal is sometimes.
Yeah,
and
be that.
Once you figure out your animal, you can kind of approach things differently.
Yeah. And
seeing the other animals that you're in a room with.
Yeah. No, I think that is effective. And I'm like a cat. I want to check out the room before I dive in the center. I'm like gonna check everything. Like, who's here? What are they doing?
That's so me. I'm like, oh no, I don't want any of this.
I'm gonna go to my room. Thanks for talking about this. If anyone has thoughts or comments, we'd love to hear them. I think this is an ongoing dialogue. How can we be more powerful in the world? How can we let our light shine? And how can we seek and allow recognition without overwhelming or overpowering other people? So thanks very much for talking about this.
Yes.